Good day, children. Today in this video, we will see the lesson, The Blue Light. The speaker in the story is a writer who has rented an old house on the outskirts of the small town in Kerala. Outskirts means the outer parts of a town or a city. The house has no electricity, no current, and is not well looked after. It doesn't look good. But the speaker finds it a perfect place to write his next story. After he moves in, the locals in the village people warn the speaker that the house is haunted by a ghost named Bhargavi. So there is a ghost inside the house and its name is Bhargavi. The speaker does not take the warning very seriously. 2.5 months passes and he begins to forget about Bhargavi. He just forgot about the ghost Bhargavi. Then one day something happens. So let us see what happens. It must have been around 10 o'clock and the speaker was writing since 9. Okay? It was a highly emotional piece. He was writing which he was writing is like full of strong feelings. Yes, it was highly emotional. I was writing feverishly. Here feverishly means excitedly and with a lot of energy he was writing. When I felt the light from the lantern becoming gradually dimmer. From the lantern, since there was no electricity in the house, the speaker used a lantern to write his novel. I picked up the lamp and shook it. There was no kerosene in it. But I did not want to stop writing. So he doesn't want to stop writing because the story was so interesting. All my attention was on the story and I was writing. I continued writing as the light got dimmer and dimmer until finally it went altogether. Yes? So what happened next? Now I need some kerosene. I remembered that I could go to the bank and get some. My friends who worked at the bank lived in one portion of the building. I could borrow some kerosene from their stove. Since he was not having any kerosene with him, he wanted to borrow some kerosene from his friends who were living in one portion of the building. So I picked up the torch and the empty kerosene bottle, went downstairs and locked the main door. Outside there was misty moonlight and the sky was overcast. I walked fast. Overcast is like covered with grey clouds. The sky was covered with grey clouds and the speaker walked fast. When I reached the front of the bank building, I called out to my friends. Soon one of them came down and opened a side gate. We then walked along the side of the building and climbed up the stairs. The three of them had been playing cards. So what happened? He reached the front gate of the bank building, and one of his friend came down and opened the door, and they walked along the side of the building and climbed up the stairs, and there were three men who were playing cards. When I told them I needed some kerosene, one of them from the three laughed and said, "Couldn't you have asked Bhargavi to fetch you some kerosene?" So one of the friend was just mocking at the speaker, like making fun of him. "Couldn't you have asked Bhargavi to fetch you some kerosene?" I too laughed, but I didn't say anything. So even the speaker laughed, but he didn't say anything. While one of them was pouring out some kerosene from their stove, it started to rain. "I will need an umbrella too," I said. So he said to his friend that I need an umbrella too because it was raining out. "You think we own an umbrella?" laughed one of them. "Stay a while and play cards with us," You can go back when the rain stops. So one of his friends said that, do you think we own an umbrella? We don't have any umbrella here. So you stay with us and play cards with us, and then you can go back to your home when the rain stops. And so I sat down to play cards with them, but I couldn't concentrate. My mind was on the story I was writing. He didn't have any choice, so he sat down and he was playing cards with them, but he couldn't concentrate on the game. So his mind was fully on what he was writing. So that was an interesting story. So next, what happened? By the time it stopped raining, it was 1 a.m. It was midnight. So I picked up my torch and the bottle of kerosene. My friends got ready to go to bed. Good night and thanks, I said, and went down the stairs. They switched off the lights as I reached the road. There was no one on the road and no light. I walked along the deserted road by the light of my torch. I reached my house, opened the door and went in. I had no reason to think that anything exceptional had happened downstairs. Downstairs, exceptional is like unusual, which happened in the downstairs. He was feeling something like unusual in the downstairs. But I must tell you one thing. My mind was full of a strange sadness for no reason whatever. I wanted to weep. So what happened? He said good night and thanks to his friends, and went down the stairs. And they switched off the lights as he reached the road. There was no one on the road. There was no light also. He walked alone the deserted road by the light of his torch. I reached my house because it was 1 a.m., right? It was midnight, so no one was there. He reached his house, opened the door and went in. I had no reason to think that anything exceptional had happened downstairs. He had no reason to think that something unusual had happened. And downstairs, he was feeling so disturbed. But I must tell you one thing. He says, my mind was full of strange sadness. He was feeling so sad for no reason whatever. He was feeling sad for no reason. And I wanted to weep. He says that I wanted to cry for no reason. So what happened next? I went upstairs, still feeling the deep sadness, and then I saw something unusual. I will narrate it as my subconscious. Subconscious is like the part of a focused mind that notices and remembers information when you are not actively trying to do so. When you are not active actually, but your mind will register everything. I will narrate it as my subconscious has recorded it. When I had locked the house and gone for the kerosene, the lamp had gone out completely because there was no oil in it. Yes, we saw that the lamp got completely dry and it didn't have any oil in it. Yes. The room had been dark while he was leaving. And then it had rained for quite a while. It was more than 3 hours since I had left the house. But now I could see a light inside the room. So he had only one lamp that he didn't have any kerosene to fill the lamp. So he went out. He closed the door. He went out. It has been 3 hours since he left the house. But now what happened? He could see a light inside the room. I could see it through the chinks in the bedroom door. From the light from the bedroom door. I could see it through the chinks in the bedroom door. Chinks means a narrow opening, typically one that admits light. So the speaker saw a light through the narrow opening of the bedroom door. As usual, I took out my key. Then I focused the beam from my torch on the padlock of the key. The lock gleamed like silver. Should I say the lock smiled in the light? The lock was shining in silver. I opened the door and went in. Then I saw the whole thing. My entire body jerked at what was happening. He got shocked while seeing that. I didn't tremble with fear. I just stood there stunned. He was just standing like a statue. Okay, he didn't tremble with any fear. There was nothing. He just stood there stunned. I felt a kind of warmth go through me and I started to perspire. So he felt a kind of warmth which is going through him, and he started to perspire means sweat. He started to sweat. The entire room was illuminated with a blue light. Illuminated is like lit up. The entire room was lit up with a blue light, came from the lamp, from 2 inches of blue flame, blue fire. I stood there in amazement. Who had lit the lamp that had no kerosene? Where had the blue light come from? Story by Vaikom Muhammed Basheer. He is the author of the story. Thank you, children.